So I had a dream last night that basically I was in a wheelchair and I was going down the highway and I somehow went slow enough down a hill that I didn't smash the car, but basically I bumped into it and they're like, you have to pay $5,000, and I'm like, no I don't, I didn't even cause any damage. And then next thing you know, I'm going down the street in the wheelchair and I'm carrying all this stuff, so I'm like, oh, I should go in that bike shop and see if they have a basket. So I go in the bike shop and I ask him for a basket and he's like, no, what the fuck? Because apparently baskets are for lamos. And then but he was kind of creepy, so I left. But then there was someone really scary outside, so I went back in and I was like, dude, there's someone scary. So he's like, okay. And I was like, I'm also really hungry. He's like, okay, go to the kitchen. So I go to his kitchen and I look out the window. And so I'm looking out the window and there's a trampoline out there. And I'm like, oh man, this is a sick view, Brad. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I bet you use them all the time. He's like, no. I'm like, let's go out there. So we go out there. We're jumping around. And then that crazy guy from outside his bike shop was pointing a gun at us, and I'm like, what the fuck? And he started shooting, so I start running, and he starts running, and next thing you know, there's this helicopter, and then it lets down a tube of a condom, and it said fucking, are you crazy? And some weird slogan that is supposed to be my slogan. And then I was like, oh no, it's the cops. And then so I see a friend inside one of the houses that are on the way that I'm going, and so I go inside, and then I guess some people come to the door and they're like, hey, we need to take your children. And I was like, okay, whatever, I'm not a child. And then they grab me and they're like, you're coming too. And I'm like, but I'm not a child, I'm 21. And I'm trying to tell them that I'm not a child, and they're like, we don't care, they just took me. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then so I was trying to escape, so I tried to run, but they just had a hold on me. And then there was this kind of gangster looking dude, but he was wearing a rainbow and he had a lip ring. So I was like, oh, can I be in that group instead of this group? And they're like, and then the guy was like, we don't want you. And I was like, oh. And I was like, whatever, loser, forget. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. And then there was some weird rhymes that these girls were trying to do in my group. It was weird.